Natalin, after the encounter in the Ghoul Warrens, some of you went in with the intention to take out the ghouls, and then discussions began to happen about, hey, maybe we can let them live down here peacefully. They're trying to parlay with you. Natalin, you became visibly upset, and you quickly left. You retreated out of the undead hole to the surface, and you ran to the beach. As you get to the beach, the water lapping at your feet, what do?
The first thing we see is Natalin drops to her knees in prayer, head bowed. We see her there for a moment. And then when she has done, she stands up from praying and calmly, serenely, gracefully, but with fierce determination, walks out into the sea. And we watch as the waves buffet her wispy, flowing, sea foam green robes floating in the water behind her, dancing to the waves' tempo. And as Natalin continues to advance into the depths, one could swear that there is a moment when those sea foam green robes actually turned into sea foam as Natalin's head submerges beneath the waves.
As you step deeper into the sea, the cold grips you, seeping into your bones. The brine stings your lips. Each step forward should be a struggle against the tide, yet the ocean stills, unnaturally calm. The waves flatten. The wind, always present, dies. A hush falls over the world as if the sea itself is listening. Then the voice comes, not from any one place, but from everywhere at once, rolling like distant thunder, sighing like wind through ancient boughs. It is neither gentle nor cruel, but vast, powerful, inevitable.
The tide does not bargain with rot. The storm does not shelter the blight. The cycle must flow unbroken.
The words crash over you like a wave, but before you can respond, the world shifts. The sea opens before you, drawing you under. Not to drown, but to see. You stand upon the ocean floor, impossibly untouched by the crushing depths. A great reef stretches before you, vibrant, teeming with life. Fish dart between corals, kelp sways in the current. Among the coral, tiny creatures scuttle and burrow, their movements ceaseless as they pick apart the remnants of the fallen. The flesh and bones of the dead, once stark and pale, are slowly consumed, their essence ground into sand, dissolving into the seafloor to nourish what grows anew. The cycle is unbroken, an endless flow of death feeding life, of ruin birthing renewal. It is perfect, it is whole, it is eternal. Then something moves in the water, rushing against you. A corpse drifts past, bloated, untouched by decay. It should be sinking into the seabed, breaking apart, becoming something new. But it does not. More follow. They move where they should not, creeping into places untouched by their kind, disturbing the fragile balance that has held for eons. Their presence is an intrusion, an unnatural force that shifts the tides and unsettles the currents. They cling to life they do not deserve, feeding on what was never meant for them, siphoning the essence of the sea with greedy, grasping hands. The reef begins to wither, its vibrant corals fading to sickly hues, brittle and lifeless where once they pulsed with color. The fish scatter, their schools breaking apart in chaotic desperation. Silence settles where there should be song, where the crackling of life once echoed through the deep. The water darkens, heavy with the weight of stagnation. The currents slow, choked by decay, and the once clear depths grow murky with the remnants of a broken system. Shadows stretch where light once danced, and the unseen things of the abyss stir, sensing the fracture in the order of things. The cycle halts. The voice rises with the growing current.
What does not rot, what does not return to earth and sea, is an abomination.
A figure stands before you, tall as the storm, deep as the ocean, shifting as the wind. It is neither man nor woman, neither cruel nor kind. Its presence is as inevitable as the tide, as fierce as the hurricane.
You have seen what Ergothoa's touch brings. Do you doubt it?
The weight of the question lingers in the vastness of the sea. They wait for your answer.
I do not doubt.
The storm rumbles, the waves above crashing harder against the unseen shore. The presence of Gozre looms closer.
Does the wolf choose to be sated? Does the fire choose to stop burning? They are hunger without end, denying the mercy of the grave. You would call that life.
The image shifts. No longer the world as mortals perceive it, but as it truly is. The ghouls beneath the boneyard are stripped of illusion, their forms laid bare in the cold, unyielding truth of the cycle. They do not hunger as the living do. Their need is not for sustenance, not for survival. It is a gaping maw, endless, insatiable, a wound upon existence that festers, consuming but never creating. They are not lost souls searching for peace, nor wayward spirits clinging to life. They are perversions of nature, severed from the flow of death and rebirth, where all things must return, flesh to earth, breath to wind, bones to dust. They linger, refusing the mercy of dissolution. They do not merely break the cycle, they defy it, they corrupt it. They are not lost souls, they are parasites upon the cycle. Suddenly, the ocean shifts violently, a great and terrible force pulling at the edges of reality itself. The water surges, writhing as if in agony, before vanishing in an instant. In its place, you stand in a stagnant pool, its surface thick and viscous, sluggishly swirling around your ankles with an unnatural resistance. The stench rises immediately, an overwhelming rot, damp and cloying, forcing its way into your lungs. The pool is not water. It is something older, something wrong, clinging to your skin with a clammy grip, seeping into every pore. Its surface is broken only by the shapes, countless bodies floating just beneath, buoyed by the sickly congealed mass. They do not sink. They do not break apart. They should be lifeless, yet something in their stillness feels intentional, as though they are waiting, watching. The air is heavy, thick enough to taste, coating your tongue with the bitter tang of decay. It does not stir. No breeze carries it away. No whisper of movement disturbs the oppressive silence. It presses down on you, suffocating as though the world itself is holding its breath. The air is still, heavy, fetid. Nothing moves. Nothing breathes. Nothing grows.
This is the world Urgathoa would make. No wind, no tide, no new life. Would you let it fester?
They wait for your answer.
I get that. Natalin again drops to her knees. She's gasping for this air that's heavy right now. It's hard to breathe. And she's like, I would not let this happen. I see the truth now. Your wisdom has shown me. I will fight this.
The wind howls in approval. The sea surges.
Then be as the storm. Be as the tide. Show them the mercy they have been denied.
A great wave rises, towering above you, and crashes down. You are lost in the deep, spun in the currents, the salt filling your mouth, your lungs. And then you stand in the shallows once more, gasping for breath. The wind howls at your back, the sky dark with gathering clouds. Rain is coming. The message is clear. The cycle must not be broken. The dead must return to the earth, the sea, the storm. Urgathoa's children have no place in the world Gozre has shaped, and it is your hand that must send them back. Natalin, you are once again standing, kneeling, actually, in the shallows of the surf, the waves beginning to push at your back. You see the clouds heavy with rain that is approaching. And the last remaining bit of sunlight, before being obscured by the clouds, you see up on the hill, catches the stained glass window depicting Gozre as the wind and the tide. What do you do?
Natalin stares at that stained glass window for a while. You can see on her face there is I don't want to say happiness, but you can see that there is the feeling of rightness. There is a strength and a purpose in her face. Her eyes are afire. And we see maybe something we haven't seen from her for a while is that she stands up more confident than she has ever shown. And she strides towards the cathedral.
Velynia.
Mm-hmm. What? Sorry.
You came up out of the underground and into the cathedral, desperately searching for Natalin, who got away and disappeared.
Yeah.
Are you continuing your search? What are you doing?
I'm continuing my search. I think Velynia is she's not as urgently searching anymore, I would say. After seeing Natalin run away, she kind of feels like guilty in a way. So she's just wants to give Natalin some time to do whatever she needs to do. Obviously, she knows nothing about all of this shit that just happened, but I think that probably she would eventually catch up to Natalin, maybe as she's coming back up towards the sea.
I am going to leave it to Natalin. As you return to the cathedral, do you spot Velynia as she's coming towards you, or do you spot her as she's walking away from you? And what do you do?
Oh, that's a good question. I think Natalin spots Velynia as Velynia's walking towards her. And Velynia, you see in Natalin that there is a strength in her steps that, while she's always been confident around, that of, you haven't seen this level at this point. There's something has changed with her. You can see actually that she is sodden from head to toe, but it doesn't seem to bother her in the slightest. And she is walking purposely back towards the cathedral.
And if she's coming, so I see her and I'd be like, Natalin, can I please have a word?
You may walk with me.
I think Velynia very quickly realizes that that's the best she's gonna get. And she would walk, and I think in a way she walks slowly, trying to get Natalin to kind of match pace subconsciously. And she's just kind of she would just look over and say, "You're soaked. What happened?"
She does not slow down when you try to slow down. She keeps the pace. And maybe at one point, when you say that, she just kind of glances over her shoulder. The attitude that she has towards you is a little bit different. She's always been a little bit subservient to you. Somewhat. There's none of that at this moment in her gaze to you. I met with my God. And that's all she says as she turns back and then continues.
Natalin, your God, Gozray, showed themselves to you.
Yes. You doubt me?
No, but I think that if Gozray felt the need to show themselves, they must think you doubt yourself. And I just kind of let that hang there for just a second. And I think Velynia would stop walking and kind of let that. And it's not said with meanness. It's not said as an attack at all. It is said as though Velynia is making this realization herself.
At that, there is a pause to Natalin's steps. And she turns and looks back at you. There was, but there is no longer. And with that, she continues forward towards the cathedral.
And I think Velynia would kind of walk up frustrated and grab onto Natalin's elbow. And say, Natalin, please. if you're my friend, if you ever were my friend, you will discuss this with me, please. Please.
There is foulness here beneath Sandpoint. This foulness I cannot let lie. I must show it mercy and give it the death it desires, it needs. That is what I need to do. And you either help me or not, but do not stand in my way.
Natalin, please, you have to believe me that I understand. I understand all of... Did I ever tell you that I was an initiate of Ghost Ray for 3 years? When I was young?
No. You've never said such things. Why would you hide that?
Because I'm not anymore, and I didn't want you to ask why. And now I just... It's important. This is important. One of the most important thing that we've ever done together. Natalin, please. It is very easy for the gods, you know, to sit up wherever they sit and say, these are my edicts and these are my anathemas, and then look at all of us in the mud here and say that these are your edicts and these are your anathemas. But it gets muddier for those of us down here in the mud. Wouldn't you say?
There might have been a time when I would have believed you and agreed with you, Velynia. But at this moment, my vision is clear. I have never had such clarity.
Well then, what's next? I mean, Ghost Ray is all about balance. Are we just going to start killing people who live in cities now because cities encroach on nature? I've seen followers of Ghost Ray do that.
No, Velynia. But what we have here, what is below the cathedral, what is festering down there is not natural. It will corrupt and rot the cycle of life, ending it. And that cannot happen.
Because it's not natural.
Because it will destroy us all.
Who says?
Everything.
Who says?
I have been shown.
By your god. Do you know how many gods there are?
Yes, and this one is actively fighting the one who would bring about this foulness.
Natalin, have you ever thought that perhaps Ghost Ray chose you because you have free will and a heart? There are people down there, sentient people, families, children, women. You would destroy them. You would commit genocide. That's not right. And I don't believe that you believe it is. I don't believe that.
And that is where you are wrong. I do believe.
I know you believe in Ghost Ray. You don't have to stop. But this is not right. What if Ghost Ray wakes up tomorrow and tells you that kobolds don't belong in Sandpoint, or drunks, or
Ghost Ray
half-elves?
would never say that.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Well, I suppose we will all have to hope then, won't we? Ghost Ray does seem quite the fickle one. If that is one thing I've learned, it is that there is a storm, and then there is a fire, and then there is an earthquake. Ghost Ray is quite fickle. And Natalin.
You would have me believe that you would not fight any evil, any foulness, simply because it is sentient? You would let the demons walk this earth because they are sentient? even
No,
though they would destroy everything that we have here.
I would destroy things that are trying to destroy what we have here. Those
And
people
this
below.
foulness beneath Sandpoint will destroy everything we hold dear here, just because they exist. If they do not continue the cycle of life, it will end the cycle of life. We cannot let that set foot and make a foothold here.
Natalin, what if we made them leave? What if we said they had to go far away and never appear beneath Sandpoint again? What if we did that? They're not even living under Sandpoint.
They're not
tunnels.
even living. That is correct. They do not belong here.
Natalin, I know that you have a heart, and I know that you know what is good. And if Gozre never existed, or if they didn't exist after tomorrow, you would still be good. And you would still show mercy. And I'm starting to believe, that you might show more if Gozre didn't wake up tomorrow and didn't have any influence on your life. I know what Gozre is all about. They are about balance. Sandpoint has gone on for hundreds of years, presumably with these things under the surface. It is balanced. It is balanced now.
I can't believe you are saying this. It is not balanced right now. That is the problem. It is tipping. The scales are tipping, and if we do not balance it now, they will be gone for good, and there will be nothing we can do. We must stop that from happening. Keep the balance. And therefore, I know what I must do. Like I said, if you do not wish to join me, that is fine. Do not stand in my way.
Natalin, there are women and children down there.
No, there aren't.
Yes, there's families. You said so. God. They are innocent. They haven't done anything.
There is undead below the city. They are not people. They do not breathe. They do not have hearts that beat.
And they are not doing anything wrong.
That you know of. But their existence itself is what is tipping the balance.
Natalin, why do you feel so strongly about Gozre? I understand following a god, but this zeal, that I don't understand. Please, explain to me why. And don't make it easy. Just don't say because Gozre is right. That's schoolyard excuses. Why?
The only reason I walk this earth still is because of Gozre.
What does that mean?
It means if you had your way and Gozre was dead, I would be too.
What happened?
Gozre saved me. I was dying. I was dying, and in my moments, my last moments, I reached out and I prayed. I prayed with everything I knew, and Gozre answered. Not only did Gozre heal me, let me continue to live, but Gozre gave me powers. You've seen what I can do. This is just a drop in the sea. Everything I am right now is because of Gozre. And I will not turn my back. I faltered. And Gosray was merciful, and instead of punishing me, just showed me what I needed to know. I will not falter again, Velynia.
They didn't punish you. What if you turned away right now? Not even turned away. What if you refused to do this one thing? What would they do?
You missed the point. It's not what they would do.
I don't believe I am.
It's what it would do to me, Velynia. You ask me to walk away right now, turn my back on everything that I am, everything that I believe, I would be nothing but a shell. Do you think I would be able to look myself in the looking glass again? Do you think I would be able to look anyone in the eye and have any shred of self-worth, knowing that I gave up everything because you asked me to?
I see.
What makes you better than a god?
Natalin, I don't believe I am better than a god.
Then don't ask me to do this.
I am asking you because you're my friend.
And I'm asking you to not, because you are my friend.
Well, Natalin, I think I understand now. You're not a follower, you're a hostage. You're afraid that if you turned your back on Gosray, they take away your powers, they take away your life, they take away this and that. You should be able to look yourself in the mirror because of the things that you do and the things that you believe, and because you are a good person. With or without Gosray, you are a good person. And you should be able to look yourself in the eye no matter what you choose now. And I believe Gosray chose you because you are a good person and you can follow your own moral code. I am no better than a god, but I can look myself in the mirror, with or without them, because I follow my moral code. And I try to do what's right. And I don't always get it right, but I try. You are lucky. You get to look and you get to say, Gosray says this. And that's the end of the sentence. Must be nice.
I think for once there's a sad little smile on her face, seeing how bitter you are. And she just reaches out and she touches your shoulder, something she would probably never have done like a day ago. I'm sorry for whatever happened to you when you were younger, but that is not the same with me. And she just turns her, walks away.
I think Velynia. Are we like near the cathedral? Are we near the?
So
like, are we close?
As I described it in the very beginning, Natalin encountered you at the cathedral, not en route. So It was as she was coming in, she was seeing you come out. So you basically have been inside, sort of walking through the halls of the sanctuary. And Velynia, as Natalin walks away, you hear
oh shit.
And you see in the archway that connects each of the cathedrals towards the central area, you see Father Xantus standing there. Perhaps you should let her go.
So she can do exactly what you wanted her to do? That sounds like a great idea, Father. Just let her do it.
The Sandpoint Cathedral is a place of worship for many. These sanctuaries, they are dedicated to Abadar. Desna, Aristil, Gozray, Serenray, and Shaylin. We welcome worshippers from many faiths here. The pantheon of gods provides for a multifaceted way of life. Among those who call home here in Sandpoint and throughout Golarion, the viewpoints are different from person to person. I dare say if you were to talk to one of the Sandpoint residents who shows up for prayer to Gozray, you would find them to be perhaps diametrically opposed to Natalin's viewpoints. But the point remains, here in the Sandpoint Cathedral, the faithful come to seek solace, to pray to their gods, and I don't think it is fair that they should be attacked for their beliefs here, of all places.
And I think Velynia, she's been like kind of clenched up with this conversation, and she sort of sighs and she looks at him and she just says, I'm not judging anyone for their beliefs, Father, but by their actions, and I think that is fair.
What is it that's causing you such harsh judgment of Natalin? What is the source of this schism in your friendship, if you'll forgive a pointedly dogmatic phrase?
Well, Natalin sees everything as black and white, and it's just not that simple. And I feel like she's using her own god as a crutch, as an excuse more than anything.
Excuse for what?
Natalin, an excuse for
You're dancing,
for
Velynia.
doing something that I think she knows is wrong.
You're dancing. If you don't want to tell me what it is, I cannot make you. But if I am to do my job and counsel those within these walls, as they permit, it helps if I have all of the information and not vagaries and notions. Or are you afraid that I will agree with Natalin out of hand?
No. He's a priest of Desna, right?
Primarily, but he serves all faiths.
Okay. I think Velynia would sigh and just say, we found something down below Sandpoint, and I cannot give you any more detail, but Natalin wants to deal with it in a way that is brutal and inhumane and close-minded, and that's just not who she is. She's not that person. She's a kind and gentle person, and I'm worried. And at the end of the day, she is a very close companion of mine, and I'm very worried. How do I convince her?
That's the tricky part of it. You're wanting to convince somebody to forsake their faith in their own deity because you don't believe as their deity does. That is tricky. I can offer this as counsel with what you've given me. You may find yourself at odds. It is common, especially in friendships, to disagree. The closer a relationship is, the more likely it is that you will have disagreements. Sometimes you will strongly disagree, and you may find rifts and fractures within your relationship. But I find that the worst thing that we can do for those that we care for is to try to force them to agree with our own point of view, with our own worldview, rather than seeking first to understand and see things from their point of view. I would hate to see something like this tear you apart.
So would I. I don't know what to do. I told Lumi, but if in my little band here, it seems like I usually know what to do and I don't.
But I must confess that I don't know where Millie or Moa stand in their relationship to any gods in particular. Natalin and Lumi are what I would classify as devout followers. You're going to find your solace in your friends. You're going to find your strength. You're going to find your answers in and amongst your friends, even perhaps in communication with Natalin, and trying to understand rather than change her mind.
Okay.
I do hope you will take these words as what they are meant, as counsel to aid you, and should you need it, these sanctuaries and my counsel are available to you at any time. And then he kind of
does the Michigan goodbye. Well, they're be hitting the old dusty trail.
And he does that sort of awkward. He's like he's looking for his keys or something, patting his robes, and he's like,
got candles to light.
And he says he says his counsel's available anytime, day or night. And he goes, well, remember, anytime, day or night.
Ooh.
Hold on. That
Hot.
did not come across the way I meant it.
Okay, girl, let's go.
I realized as I said it, I'm like, hold on. Father Xanthus is not making a move on you.
Eyebrows. Let's go. Love it.
That's not what that was intended to be. I would like you to make a sense motive roll.
Arm check? Sure, can do. A sense motive. All right, let's go. Sense motive.
Father Xanthus or Daddy Xanthus?
Hot. Daddy. It is 26. 26 for my sense motive.
You get the sense that when he says that any time of day or night, what he is saying is he's kind of acknowledging that you are somebody that likes to move unseen. You're a woman of the shadows. And in particular, when it comes to religion, it's like he's saying, this isn't your bag, and maybe you don't want people to see you coming for counsel from me. So,
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's more what
Gotcha.
it was. Father Xanthus is absolutely showing no interest in you romantically.
What? Why?
That doesn't mean you can't. Hey, I'm not saying you can't have an interest in Lumi's dad, but
I mean, that's if we could just
let's further complicate things.
That'd be great. So I think Velynia would look off to the direction where Natalin went. It seems, at least for now, that she is not gonna tell Father Xanthus, because if she was, she would have gotten here already and found him and told him. So I think Velynia just kind of like sighs and goes to leave the temple. And I think as she is going, like the last shrine on the way out the door is a shrine to Shaylin. And she just sort of looks and kind of stops and gives it a second glance. And then takes a deep breath and leaves. And Jake, I am going to private message you something.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Before we find out where and what Millie and Lumi are doing, I do want to know where Natalin stormed off to.
I mean, in fact, actually, Natalin was looking for Father Xanthus, but the fact that he approached after she'd already disappeared, I mean, she didn't find him.
Line.
So, yeah. So I think she would, at that point, you know, she's looking for him. She would go to, I know Lumi has mentioned there being a library of sorts somewhere here. There's some tomes and stuff. So in her search for Father Xanthus, she is going to go to those books and start to do some research while waiting for Father Xanthus.
Well, it's fitting that the library is essentially an extension of Father Xanthus's offices. So, while you're in there, this is when Xanthus is talking to Velynia. So, Millie, did you stay down in the hole? And
well,
Lumi?
so at the end of the last episode, Lumi was coming down to fetch Millie and Moa from the hole.
Okay.
Where we went after that, who could say?
Well, I do know that Moa has made it clear that he doesn't want any of this drama right now. So he's heading to a tavern. And he is going to I think I'm gonna say that he does not, because Jay did not specify that he was going to go to the Rusty Dragon. He wants to go somewhere that's not as common for all of you, so that if he's trying to avoid you and your drama, he doesn't want to go where you're probably going to bring it.
Moa probably gets sick of being with all these ladies who are just drama all the time. It's just like, he's like, I'm going to go get a drink. Feelings.
So he probably went to like Crack Tooths.
To where?
Crack tooth. Good knowledge of the map, bro. We should get a point for that.
It's
I
in
know.
the notes, people.
I read that. I have read the notes, but I don't remember everything that's in them.
Yes.
You're incredible.
No, there's a map in the notes that has everything written to like the side of it practically.
Damn. Incredible.
Yes.
All I had to do was look for a tavern.
Oh,
There it is, Crack Tooth, Tavern
Crack
3,
tooth.
which means it's
So-
not that good because it's 3.
It's 3. It's number 3.
I thought you were saying Crab 2. And that's why I
Oh.
was like, what are you talking about? Then I heard you say
Cracktooth?
Cracktooth.
Yeah, because what is it? There's probably a lot of people at the Hagfish because it's actually a pretty popular spot. Plus the Hagfish is a 4. So yeah, Crack Tooths.
These aren't like Michelin star ratings.
No, I know, but like it's
Do they have like a newspaper clipping hanging up in a frame in the restaurant that says voted number 3 tavern in all of Sandpoint 3 years running?
No, but
it means the
the-
amount of resources they have, and I would assume if they have
Oh.
less resources, they suck more.
so
I think that's a good.
I
yeah.
feel like Cracktooth is the kind of place that has the what is it called when the health inspector's grade on the door or on the window is a C, but next to it are the rest of the letters, so the C is being used as the first letter of Cracktooth.
That's fucking great. I love that. It's like the health inspector.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Amazing.
so anyways, we're not going there.
Sorry. No.
So
Ugh.
Moa's fine.
Oh, I might.
No, Moa's definitely there. We're not going there though. I would imagine that that after Lumi came and got us, we all went into the cathedral and like Father Xanthus be in the courtyard, like, and then Lumi look at us and be like, and we wouldn't really know what to do. We'd probably stand around for a couple minutes and then I don't know, Millie probably dragged everybody to the white deer to feed them.
That's yes, she of course would. She'd be like, "Listen, I got a casserole in the oven. I think we should just all regroup."
We're going down to investigate some tunnels, but I put a casserole on the. I put something in the crock pot. I figured we'd
She
be
put
back
it
in
in the
8
crock pot.
hours.
It can stay in there for like 8 hours. You got some buffalo chicken.
I love the
ready to
idea
go.
that it's like back when I was a kid. My parents would put a roast in the oven before we left for church.
Oh God.
But yeah, I mean, there was a lot of tension. There's a lot going on. So Millie's first instinct is I need to bake a pie. So,
she's stress baking. That's perfect. I think I would probably realize that it's been long enough now. Like she just looks up at the sun, and I would.
Oh, it is. There's no sun by now. The rain that Natalin saw coming. It is now a. It is a light thunderstorm. And I'm gonna say that as you looked at that shrine to Shaylin and left the cathedral, you step outside and there's just a deep rumble of thunder, and it's not the kind where you see lightning streaking across the sky or anything like that. You just hear the distant thunder, and it begins to rain. As you can choose whether or not you associate that to Gozray, but nonetheless. Lumi, what are you doing?
I imagine that we are in that one tavern where it's like the White Deer, I believe it's called, up on the north side of town.
Yep.
Millie's like getting us some dinner, and Lumi's sitting at the table. Of course, her chair is way too high for her. Her feet are swinging and kicking, dangling. And she is picking at things with the tip of her wooden spoon. She's concerned about the welfare of Natalin, the welfare of Velynia. And I think that, so Velynia, have you arrived at the restaurant yet? Or
I think you guys would probably be like just getting into food, like probably like a half an hour after that.
Okay.
Velynia would walk in soaked.
Yeah, so this will be before you arrive then. Lumi is like picking at, just like fiddling with this wooden spoon, and she'll say to you, I'm really concerned about Natalin, about Velynia. About all of this.
I'm concerned too, dear. This is a very difficult situation.
There's just so much going on right now.
There truly is. It feels like it's one thing after another. It's happening so fast. Now,
Just week by week, it seems.
Now, here, dear, I made you this little pastry. Be careful. It's very hot. It's got cheese and ham. Oh, careful! It's very hot. Little pocket there.
Oh my God!
And she like pokes it, and like a little steam whiffs up of it. And she's like picking at it. She doesn't quite have an appetite right now. She's like picking it and poking at it with the tip of her spoon. Just the things that Natalin said down there, they really hurt me. I don't know if you understand, or
did she actually say anything to us down there? Like, I think she just stormed out.
She had words before she left.
Did she?
No, it was. I take it back.
She held her tongue and.
Did she?
Yeah,
Oh,
she
okay.
just
Never mind. I'm
left.
sorry.
Yeah.
The look on her face really
Yes, I
concerned
could
me.
tell. I could tell what she's thinking. I'm a watcher of people.
She didn't have to use any words to show us how upset she was. She had all of the water flamming around her.
Those were people down there. You know this, right?
Yes, dear. I'm aware.
Okay.
I thought you made a very good point when you said
I hope so.
when you compared it to your situation, and that's exactly true. If Father Xanthus hadn't have taken you under his wing, there's a very good likelihood that people would be viewing you much differently.
I'm lucky in that regard, but well, everyone should be deserved that kind of trust and grace and luck even.
I guess we
That's-
just need to speak with Natalin to find out why she's upset.
Yeah, we'll talk to her and everything will be okay and we'll all get along again, she says very panickedly.
It's fine. We'll just sit down over a nice hot meal and have a discussion about it. I'm sure Natalin had a very good reason for doing what she did, leaving like she did. She's so upset, that poor lamb.
I think that's when like the door
Can
to
I
the
burst
tavern.
in? I was just gonna
Yeah.
say that, dude. I'm sure she had a good reason. Wham! And Velynia looks like a drowned rat and hood up and everything, looking like Strider. Frickin' comes in and is just like, oh, Millie, do I smell hot pockets?
You do, dear. Here, have a seat. Let me get you a towel. Oh my!
I sit down and it's just like,
you're dripping
and,
everywhere.
like it's just like sorry.
Millie brings you a towel and just kind of drapes it over you.
And I think Velynia would like take her hair down and like again, totally clueless, would just go like shake her hair out and then like kind of start drying it and just like and like
Whoa,
get it over
must be
back over her
coming
shoulder.
down. Must be coming down like cats and dogs out there. Either that or you decided to take a dip.
Yes, the first one. I don't think I got through to Natalin, everybody.
Do
I
you
tried
know
my-
why she's upset? We
No.
don't know anything.
Yes. So I kind of gathered this by, the thunderstorm that she was creating all around her body. But she believes very strongly that the things underneath the surface are undead, they are not alive, they are not worthy of mercy, yada yada yada, typical religious zealot stuff. And I could forgive her all of that, but I truly don't believe that in her heart she feels like this is the right thing to do. Apparently Gozray appeared to her, spoke to her, and told her that they are an abomination and that they must be purged and typical religious zealot stuff.
Oh heavens! Her god appeared to her to tell her this.
Yes.
Oh.
So she is understandably quite driven right now.
I don't think we can get to her through any kind of theological debate.
Well, there is no debate to be had, dear. What are we going to do? Tell Natalin to just choose another god who sees more eye to eye with the things that we want? I know that you can swing a dead cat around Sandpoint and hit a god at any turn, but that's still not acceptable.
That's a good point, Millie. And Velynia is, when Millie says that so nonchalant, like, what are we going to ask her to do? Choose a new god? Like, that's pretty much exactly what Velynia was asking her to do. And she is just, Velynia kind of sighs and she looks down and she's like, I suppose we can't ask that. But I didn't think it was that much to ask for her to not go down there and slaughter those people. I don't know what she's going to do.
She's determined then to... Is that what Gozra told her? Did she say? Is she to exterminate the undead underneath the boneyard?
If there is one thing that I am good at, it's reading people, and I've never seen Natalin that determined in the entire time I've known her. I think she needs to go down and purge those people, or at least she thinks she does.
Well, that settles that then.
What do you mean? What do you mean that
Oh,
settles that?
We're going to have to go. We're going to have to go evacuate them, dear, before Natalin finds her way down there.
Oh my. Yes. We have to. We have to get there ahead of her. But yes, we have to get there ahead of her, of course.
And those who want to flee will be able to flee, and those who want to stand and fight can stand and fight. It's their own decision to make.
We just can't let her do this.
Oh, sweet Lumi, we can't stop her either.
I don't want her to hurt herself either, or hurt them, or
about
why? Why
How
all this
about this?
needless violence?
We go down and we tell them to escape. But we don't tell Natalin.
And lie to her?
No, I didn't say that. I just said we never tell her, one way or the other. Lumi, she would regret it if she did that. She might feel full of zeal now, but when she looks back on this, she will regret committing a literal genocide.
If it comes down to it, I will take responsibility for tipping our hand.
No. This is all of our plans. We're not throwing any one of us under the bus here.
Oh,
Or
we
under
could
the
always
chariot.
say
Under the
it's
chariot, I
Moa's
mean.
fault. I'm kidding.
It's not my fault.
It's Moa'Kee's fault. No.
Well, when then? Now? Should we get down there now?
Oh, well, finish your tart first, dear. But yes, I believe we should go today. I'm sure that Natalin is probably meditating or doing something, and if she's already in the tunnels, well, we did what we could.
All right. You've never seen Velynia eat hurriedly since you've known her. She eats this Hot Pocket in 3 bites. And her cheeks are stuffed. And you're
For the rest
I'm
of
ready if you are.
for the rest of the day, your sense of taste is just absolutely ruined. You've burned the
And
roof
my
of your
tongue
mouth
is burnt.
and your
Yeah.
tongue. Only because you specified it as a Hot Pocket. We all
Oh,
know
yeah.
how those work.
This thing is medically dangerous.
It's magma
those
inside.
3 bites, you feel all the way down too as they burn.
The neat thing is, I can do these with jam also.
Oh, that sounds delightful.
So as you're
Strudel.
discussing the various ways that Millie can prepare these food treats,
filled
we're
with
going
stuff.
to sort of rewind, happening simultaneously with Velynia walking in the rain from the temple to the White Deer and your dinner. Natalin has been you've been digging through some of the books in Xanthus's library, no, we're gonna wait a few before the break. And are you looking for anything in particular? You mentioned research. Are you specifically looking, or are you just killing time?
No, she's specifically looking for more information about undead creatures like she was before. But she's really just doing that at this, like, it's almost half-hearted. Like she's looking for information, but she's more waiting for Father Xanthus is what it is.
Go ahead and make me. I'm trying to remember what you rolled last time.
I don't remember.
Was it occult last time for undead?
It would have been.
Was it what they're weak to? I thought that
Religion.
was one of the research.
Religion?
Religion is undead.
So you want me to make a roll?
I want you to make a undead. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're making a religion recall knowledge.
My mind is obviously elsewhere. I rolled a 7.
Ooh. Ooh.
As you're flipping through this book and you're kind of paging through and you're kind of half-heartedly looking for information, and you're not really finding anything even on subject. You hear Father Xantus walk into the room, and he says, Renfro's Book of the Dead, bit archaic. You'll find not much of use these days in Renfro's. You muted?
1 second. I think at this
She had
moment
her soundproof study shield up.
Exactly. When he starts talking about the book that she's reading, I think that's when she probably realizes what the book was. Like at this point, she probably didn't even know what it was that she was just kind of flipping through pages, right? So I think there's a kind of a little maybe a blush or whatever of embarrassment on it, and she closes the book, and she's like, Father, I have something of grave importance to tell you.
Do tell me.
Earlier you asked what we had found. There are ghouls below the boneyard. There's a warren of them. I plan to go eradicate. I just wanted to let you know in case I did not make it back.
I thought you and the others had vanquished the, what did you call them, goblins, when you retrieved Nualia's bones.
We had, but there was a secret passage that led further underneath the boneyard, and there is more undead there.
Oh dear.
Yes.
What? Can I ask a question, if you don't mind?
Always.
If you found more undead ghouls under the boneyard, why did you and the others return then, having not dealt with them? Is this what?
Yes.
What you and Velynia were in disagreement
Yes.
about?
Yes, apparently all the others want to let them be. Because they believe they bring no harm to the town. They just don't understand that they're undead, Father. Sure, they may speak, but they are not living beings. They will not fight them, so I will go alone.
I find that disconcerting. I'm rather curious as to what would bring Lumi to not be in agreement with the eradication of evil. But
I don't fully understand myself, Father, but
I have to tell you, Natalin, it troubles me that this is the situation you'll find yourself in. Not the dilemma that the others seem to be facing, but that you should have to do this alone. There is no question in my mind that gas and ghouls, they're like undead. They are evil.
Yes. They are abominations.
Do you know how the first ghouls came to be? He walks over to
No, Father.
He walks over to a shelf and he pulls a different book down, one that you hadn't seen. It does appear to be a slightly newer tome. He says, the legends tell that the first humanoid, an elf, to feed upon the flesh of his brother, rose as a ghoul after his death. In time, embracing his new life and ascending to great power as a demon lord of ghouls, graves, and secrets kept by the dead. Ghouls of humanoids, they warp and twist, take on vaguely elven features. Ghouls, gas and their like, often worship vile gods or eschew faith entirely. And their purpose seems to be to feed upon the recently deceased, to disrupt the cycle of life and death. I don't know what would give the others such pause in dealing with such a situation, but I am sorry that you feel the need to deal with this on your own, and I wish there was something I could do for you. I can offer you prayers.
That would be appreciated, Father. I cannot force them to help me. I cannot force them to change their minds. But I cannot leave this be. And so I must go myself.
I will pray to Desna and to Gosray.
Thank you, Father.
I would like, Natalin, I would like for you to roll me a D100.
Oh, God.
D100. Huh. $15.
Lumi, roll me a D100.
1-5.
Roll me a D100, Lumi.
Okay. If you say so. Oh. I messed that one up. Let's try this again. There we go. That's going to be a 2.
Oh.
2 out of 100.
Oh, God.
Velynia, D100.
98.
We add up to 100.
Yeah, we do. Hashtag. Let's go.
Millie,
Yay.
D100. Muted.
Oops. I
You did what I
messed that
did,
up.
yeah.
Yeah,
All I have to do
messed
is
that up.
yeah. All I have to do is click the that one.
98.
Oh.
Winning is winning. Hashtag. Let's go. What are the odds? That's got to be steep.
About 1 in 100 usually.
Of two of us getting it, you smartass. Oof. Millie and I are both the closest. Now
Okay.
what?
Well, you don't know what you're the closest to. You just know that you're the closest to 100.
Oh god.
What I was rolling for, because this is a game after all, is to see who gets to the ghouls first. Natalin, having spent less time waiting and talking to Father Xanthus, and being already at the boneyard, has the head start, and therefore set the baseline of 15. I determined that there's a 25% chance that you would be able to get to Natalin before she gets into, or get to the ghoul warrens before her. The closest was Lumi. If you take 15 and subtract 12, you get 3. Lumi rolled a 2. Natalin is going to make it into the ghoul warrens before you all can get there.
Oh no.
Natalin is going to encounter Volgar Rabs and the as yet unknown total number of ghouls by herself. That's where we're going to take a break.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
So,
FYI, if it comes up, and I hope it doesn't, Lunchbox is on vacation for 2 weeks. So,
Shut up! Shut up! It doesn't matter.
so like,
I forgive
you're
you.
gonna have to
I
deal
forgive
with
you.
my temporary art if it comes to that little stick figure.
It's not gonna. We're gonna have a talk.
so we're going to go ahead. We're going to take a break. And we'll see what happens when we get back. We'll see you on the other side.
Oh my god!
Hold on.
Fuck!
Oh my word!
Velynia's head explodes.
Talk about a new.
It's like
I think
scanners.
we pissed off Gozra, y'all.
Yeah, we did.
Talk about a new hand touches the beacon. So, for all of the God voice cues, I had 6 different audio tracks that I would trigger, and I left them on. And the one thing I didn't test when I was doing all of my run-throughs was the fact that when you leave this main screen, everything goes into a different state and reactivates when you come back in. That's why all 6 voice lines.
That's what Natalin hears in her head when she's killing all the freaking ghouls.
It's like that. Yeah, it's like that where you're just hearing the echo of what happened in previous scenes. And
oh my god.
So,
and it all comes together at kill them. Kill them all.
This is going to be something a little bit different. Because I don't think we all want to sit here while Natalin
goes turn by turn.
Goes turn by turn with a number of ghouls and a ghast. So what we're going to do is I would like to handle this in just a couple of dice rolls. Natalin, I would like you to make 1 attack roll, 1 skill check of your choice, and 1 spell casting roll. And I have DCs for each of those.
Okay, so when you say attack, you mean like a melee slash
Whatever,
I don't do
however
weapons.
you would attack.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily mean melee. It just means
Okay.
however you would attack.
She goes down there and uses water pump It's super effective.
Natalin, use hydro pump.
Hydro pump. That's what I was looking for. Fuck. Oh, it's been a minute. Damn.
Okay, so you just want me to roll them, or do you want me?
I want you to roll the dice for right now. We're gonna determine some numbers, and then we're gonna move into narrative descriptions. So you can go ahead and call those out, or are you picking specific attacks and skills?
Okay. Okay, so the first attack. Oh, okay. So 28 for attack. We've seen that before. That is the. I guess we'll describe it later. 28 for attack. 25 for skill.
Jesus.
What skill is
Christ.
Acrobatics.
Okay.
And then I guess spell. You said a spell attack? Or do you want me to give
a
you my
spell casting
DC?
roll? So whatever you would choose to do as a spell.
It just has a DC, is what I would choose to dispel, but
What's
I
the
could
DC?
roll. My DC is. I'm trying to read my character sheet. I'm trying to find that out. It's somewhere I know.
While
easy
Kaeryn
to
takes
look
her
at.
time, you can check us out on teespring.com. At teespring.com, we got all kinds of great t-shirts, like the one I'm wearing, the one Tamiko is wearing, and all kinds of other great ones. You can get them on t-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, mugs, stickers, all kinds of other great stuff. You can get them for your fantasy games, our Kids on Bikes games, or a lot of other cool designs. Check us out on teespring.com and click the link in the description for this video.
If you're using Path Builder, it's under spells.
I just hadn't scrolled up high enough. I found it.
Ah.
Okay, so my spell DC is 20.
Okay. All right, so you have a spell DC of 20. That's going to be. What's the save on that? Will fortitude, reflex.
Reflex.
Okay. In this first phase, as you enter into this tunnel, I want you to describe how you enter the tunnel and walk towards. You see the ghast with the slightly askew glasses standing there holding basically just sort of holding ground. And you can see a couple of the ghouls in the tunnels behind them. What does it look like when you approach with this intention?
So I think the first thing we see is that Natalin does not use any of the ropes or anything that we set out. In fact, she's activated her aura and immediately just kind of jumps in. We're using the first thing would be her air cushion. She just kind of floats down to the ground. And then she walks determinedly towards the, I guess, the secret door where the ghast is at. And as soon as she sees him, there's no talking, there's no nothing. She blasts him with, oops, closed it. The first thing is basically as she does a wave of her hand and it's like she pulled back an arrow almost. And this arrow of, I'm going to say electricity shoots forward. It's just a bolt of electricity. That's what you see as it rips through the leader. And then it's rapidly followed by her doing some almost like parkour against the walls. and around so that she gets perfectly lined up right in front of him. And what we see at that point is where once Natalin stood, there is now a being made of complete electricity. And this electricity shoots forward in a line, running through as many of these creatures that she can in like the 30 feet. And at the other end, so when she's passed through them, shoom, 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 this electricity forms at the other side where Natalin reconstitutes, and she turns again, facing back to all the ones that she had just went through.
I would like you to roll a d12, please.
D 11.
11.
Yeah.
As Natalin, as you move through, you see this Wolgarabs is preparing to meet you for further parley. And you can see, I just imagine we see as your form changes and this lightning begins, we see it reflected in these spectacles that he wears as his look turns to one of shock, and you begin lashing out with attacks. You find that in this instance, your attacks are empowered by Gosray. When this first part of this fight concludes, I made some rolls. You'll notice I was rolling dice as well, which was a combination of determining attack attempts against you and setting the DCs that you were going against. You, because you rolled a 28 of one on your attack primarily, and my attack total was 18, setting the DC means you critically succeeded, which is why I had you roll a DC or a D12. In this first wave, as you are traveling, kind of moving in and around Wolgarabs and just pummeling them, we see water and lightning arcing through these side tunnels, and you take out 11 ghouls.
Jesus God.
So the other thing you notice with this divine sort of touch of Gosray in this moment is actually, Tamiko just brought it up in the side chat. You are reminded of the scent of death that that you were in the vision with Gosray. This incredible powerful smell, which I need you to make a fortitude saving throw, because unfortunately you are not immune to these effects.
24.
Not a critical success, but it is a success. So while it is a powerful stench, it does not take you out. I would like you to make the same three rolls once again.
Okay, not as good. 19 for the attack. Oh, obviously we're tired. 17 for the skill. And then the DC is still 20.
So I rolled almost a nat 20, but I did roll a crit failure in there as well.
Oh my God. Say goodnight.
Good night.
This fight continues. You're finding it a little difficult initially you're finding it a little difficult to get as successful strikes on Vulgar Rabs. However, you don't need to roll a d12. You didn't critically succeed anyway, but your attack's successful enough to take out the one remaining ghoul. You find out as you are moving through all of these side tunnels, at least in this immediate area, that Zodok lied to you. I think he had told you there was something like half a dozen ghouls for each one of you down here. There were just 12. And you have slaughtered all of the ghouls. Vulgar Rabs is in bad shape. He has attempted and succeeded, actually, in this second round. He would have succeeded in his attempt to hit you. So I do got to give you some damage. So you're gonna take. Ooh. Oh no, that's max damage. You're gonna take 22 piercing damage from one of his bites, and you need to make a fortitude saving throw. You're muted.
Sorry. I got a nice. That's all I was excited. I got a 29, 17 on the die, so I was pretty happy with that.
So you... Okay, I need... Sorry. So that was a success. I need you to make one more, because you're saving against 2 conditions.
Fortitude as well?
Correct.
25.
Okay.
Holy
You
shit.
save against both the fever and the paralysis.
Oh my God.
But he also did succeed on hitting you with his claw attack, which would have been a 6 and 4 is 10, 16 additional slashing damage, and I need one more save from you.
Fortitude as well? Still?
Yep.
Oh, it was almost a nat 20, but it's not. So dirty 20 instead.
Ugh.
Dirty 20. Natalin, you
Nice
feel yourself stiffening as he jams his claws into your side, and the paralysis begins to set in, freezing you in place. You realize, though you've slain all of Vulgar Rab's ghouls, he's still standing and still capable. As your legs stop moving, I imagine that sort of wispy, watery tendrils and form starts to solidify back into yourself as sort of the water trailing back into your form as you become paralyzed. There is one special mechanic that is a part of this fight. You can only do this once per battle. And only in this battle. You can invoke Gosray's favor. In doing so, you can turn a failed roll into a success with divine intervention.
I would love to. Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please. I call out to Gosray.
I need. What do I need? Jumping around here. Roll me a D100. That's what we're gonna do.
Okay. $91.
50. So you're 41 away, which is good. In this moment, this is where Velynia, Millie, and Lumi make it down through the hole, across the first chamber, and down these tunnels. As Wolgar Rabs, seeing you succumb to his paralysis, he withdraws his claws from your side, and he begins to pace around you. You almost completely eliminated us. Standing behind you in your ear, he says, I can always make more. As he's standing behind you and just starting to circle around your left side, this is where the other three of you come in, but this is also where, Natalin, you summon that divine intervention of Gosray, and the paralysis stops taking its hold. The lightning suddenly returns to your fingertips. What do Lumi, Velynia, and Millie see as you take out? Or I guess the final move is your choice. I'll leave it at that. If you eliminate or show mercy or leave him, whatever you do, this is your moment.
There's a triangle button, a square button, and an X button next to these three decisions. Sorry.
So as he's saying those things to her, and she knows that the paralysis is leaving, she doesn't let that show to this creature. And when he says, I can just make more, and she goes, by Gosray's will, you will never make more. As she reaches out with her hand, at the same moment, her hand, like, immediately summons in her hand is this dagger of pure electricity, but her hand was basically on his chest, and so it just kind of manifests inside him as she stabs him, and she says, may Gosray have mercy upon your soul. You are cleansed.
And with
Millie
Natalin's
slaps a hand over Lumi's eyes.
Oh.
with Natalin's words, that electricity dagger from inside Wolgar Rab's chest and bones turn to dust as Wolgar Rabs is no more. The dust settles around your feet, Natalin, as in these various chambers lying all around are the other dead dozen ghouls. And you turn, and you see your companion standing there. What would you all like to do?
I
Millie
think Natalin.
rushes over and starts fussing over your wounds. Well, that's that then. Oh dear. Oh my. What are you doing down here alone?
I think Natalin's actually quite taken aback. But first of all, she was shocked and surprised that you guys were here. But then when you came over and you're fussing with her, she just kind of like, I think, take a half step back. But she looks confused at why you are being so kind, I guess, to her at this moment. She's just like, but she doesn't stop you. She's too flummoxed to stop you doing anything. But she just looks at you. She's looking in your eyes like, are we good? Is basically what she's emoting.
Oh dear. Oh, oh, it looks like you got claws right into your side. Oh my.
Yeah, she looks really bad. She is very, very hurt. She's probably bleeding like everywhere right now.
If you had to put a number on it.
Velynia is kind of like kind of walking that way and sort of like kind of shooing bodies, like just to kind of look and see if she can sort of piece together like exactly what happened, kind of like CIA style, or CSI rather. And then I think when she gets over to where Millie and Natalin are standing, she would put her hand, kind of a parallel to earlier. She would put a hand on Natalin's elbow and look at her very sincerely and just say, "Are you all right?"
And I think she looks at you for a moment. It's like she's trying to read you, but then at the moment, like seeing your sincerity, you can see like something inside just kind of, I'm not going to say crumbles, but you can see there's some sort of tension has just been released inside. And she just said, "It is done."
Millie's
And
bandaging
Velynia's
up part of your arm while you and Velynia are talking. You get 11 HP back.
Oh my god.
Nice, hell yeah.
Lumi is nowhere to be seen in the vicinity. She has rounded one of the corners of the tunnels until she's able to see the carnage that's happened. And she stands there, paralyzed by the sight of the carnage. She can't do anything but stare in horror. Imagine maybe Velynia and Millie might like look up and just see Lumi, many, many strides back, just standing there, just horrified as what's
I would walk
happened.
back towards Lumi, and I would just say, "Lumi, you don't need to be down here. You don't need to stay down here."
You can see that her breath is caught in her throat. Her ears are pounding. And she looks up at you, doesn't meet your eyes, looks down to the ground, and runs off.
Velynia, as you're walking amongst the dead or undead, the dead undead,
The double dead. Yep, them.
you see near where you first met him, Wolgar, you see propped against the wall a shield, a wand, and a pair of goggles. Rolled up next to them is what looks like the contract that Bulgar wanted you to sign if you were going to agree to let them go.
Velynia looks kind of heartbroken for a second. And then she just kind of like shakes her head and gathers up the stuff, like the stuff that, like the shield and the goggles and all that stuff, and then kind of like intentionally steps on the contract and like scrapes it along the ground, kind of like intentionally ripping it.
It doesn't rip. You notice that as you kind of push it with your foot and it partially unfurls, you see on the back side of it, you see a sailor's tattoo. This is a contract written on flesh.
Oh my god. And
you can see.
Okay, I changed my mind. Sorry. Go ahead.
You can see where when you try to destroy it, you see that sailor's tattoo sort of faded, and you can see new words that have been tattooed into this flesh that form the language of the contract.
Oh,
Wow, that's time consuming.
that's brutal. I would, yeah, no shit. I would be like, yeah, depending on where you go, of course. I gather up the things, and then seeing that it doesn't rip, I think Velynia looks back at Natalin and realizes that kind of she was right all along. And Velynia wouldn't do anything else. She would take this stuff. She would take the contract.
Do you look at it?
Yeah, probably. It's kind of gross. Yeah, but I would look at it. I'm curious.
Really? Velynia's the ew girl of our group? Yeah.
This is a contract written on people skin.
So
I wouldn't say
It's not like is it like tanned people skin, or is it juicy people skin, Jake?
Is this Buffalo Bill
It's-
people skin? Or is
It's raw and
what are you doing?
wriggling.
it's somewhere in between. It's poorly
no.
tanned. And you can see that it starts off with, "Let it be known that the undersigned party, hereafter referred to as the mortals, blah blah blah, legalese, terms of accord, protection and passage, services rendered, fair compensation."
Appendices,
And then you see after those what all seem, and it seems to document, you would have been agreeing to give them safe passage away from here, or just to stay out of sight, never to be seen again. This signing the contract would count as services rendered. Your fair compensation would be the items that they had presented to you. But then there's a couple additional clauses. Enduring allegiance, unfailing compliance, and non-revocation clause. The enduring allegiance clause says that after you sign this, you shall not by any action or inaction hinder the benefactor's interest, nor shall you conspire, resist, or rebel against his will. Any such defiance would be considered a breach of contract. Unfailing compliance: in the event that the mortals perish before fulfilling the benefactor's request, their body, soul, and all material belongings shall be remitted to the benefactor in perpetuity. And the non-revocation clause states that the agreement is binding beyond time, death, and dissolution, and shall persist in all states of existence regardless of the mortal's condition or form. He fully intended to basically, he was trying to get you to not only agree to give them safe passage, but he intended to make you beholden to him beyond death.
Cool.
Think-
Cool.
I
So,
think the first Velynia would not share this with anybody. And this is 100% her being prideful. She doesn't want to admit that she was wrong. And I think
Millie's
the first
still-
thing she would do is try to find Lumi. I apologize. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I interrupted you. I'm a dick.
After you.
Millie's still fussing over Natalin, and she's not paying any attention to whatever it is Velynia's doing down there anyways. And she's helping Natalin up, and she's like, we should get you out of here. Let's go. Can you walk, dear? Oh my.
Natalin in this entire time has been very patient. She has been letting Millie, do Millie things on her all over, letting, getting that comfort, and hopefully in return comforting Millie, letting Millie worry about her. But she has been watching Velynia, and she did notice Lumi run away, and I think that is the one moment where the mask slipped a little bit. And we see like sadness there when Lumi runs away. There's, I'm not going to say heartbreak at this moment, but there's definitely that feeling when you've lost something like beyond repair. It is broken, and Natalin doesn't know if she can fix it, if it's even possible.
Lumi has scampered her way quickly out of the undead hole. Her body is fighting against her. The walls are caving in around her. Her vision is tunnel visioning. Her heart beats faster and faster in her chest. Her body is telling her that she is dying. This is an anxiety attack that Lumi is having. And she needs to do everything in her best to get up to the surface. And Velynia, you said you're coming after Lumi. You'll find her in the rain, sitting on some stone underneath one of the trees in the boneyard, not quite fully shielded from the rain. Her back is to you. Her tail is curled up in herself. She's sitting on the rock, her knees up to her chest. She's like wrapped around herself.
And I think I would go up, seeing the state she's in, Velynia would go up behind her and just say, Lumi.
She does not respond other than a little ear flick that would signify that she did hear you.
I think Velynia would, though it is raining and it's muddy and gross up here, I think Velynia would kind of sit near you on this rock if there's room. Not really even sitting, but like kind of like leaning almost. And just for a minute, just kind of like be with you in this. She can tell you're having a tough time. And then eventually, either you would notice it or she would hold it towards you slightly. She would just kind of hold this contract towards you and shrug and just say, she was right.
I think that she was about to speak when you cut her off. When she said,
Okay.
she was about to say,
apologize.
she didn't have to do this, and then you cut her off and say, they were right.
Mhm.
And she like looks up at you, confused. And she looks down at your hand, your arm, seeing the piece of vellum contract in your hand.
Oh.
She's like,
Velynia, yeah.
she looks perturbed, horrified. What is that?
It's the contract that they were going to have us sign. And it involves so
That's
much
not
more.
parchment.
No, it is not. And Velynia would kind of like toss it onto the ground between the two of them, and she would just say, she killed them all. And she was right. And for Velynia, this is hard because the one thing that she's good at is reading people and knowing what people's intentions are. That is like the one thing ever that she feels safe in. She knows what people are going to do before they do it. That's just kind of her thing. And she has been duped. Totally and completely duped. And she just kind of like shakes her head and looks over at Lumi and says, we let our emotions get the better of us, our empathy.
You're saying that they lied to us. She exhales, trying her best. Natalin was right. They were just monsters.
And
I thought
Velynia looks up at Lumi and says, they were monsters. Just them.
I saw it in their eyes. The way they speak, the way they move, it. And she just starts like sobbing a little bit.
I think
there's just a frog in her throat. She just can't really speak too much more.
Velynia would see this and kind of know what this means for Lumi, having had her make the point that, like, well, if they are outcasts because of just being the way that they are, what about me? And Velynia knows that you're kind of making this connect a little bit in your head. And all she does is she would just scoot a little closer to you and kind of gather you up in a hug and just kind of like hold on to you there in the rain for a little bit.
She'll lean into you.
I think as Velynia holds Lumi under the tree in the rain, in the boneyard, or outside the cathedral, the camera will slowly pan away, low to the ground, stopping when the muddy entrance to what was once Nualia's grave is prominent in the foreground. Excuse me. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session.
Whether we want to or not. That freaking dude. I'm so sorry this is happening to you.
I took a drink,
dude.
and I inhaled at the same time I was taking a drink.
Why'd you do that?
I forgot how to breathe and drink.
That was amazing, guys. Holy shit. Good stuff. Good stuff.
This is why we have session zeros, lines and veils, safety tools, and content warnings ahead of our games. But we did it during the break, but just as sort of a sign of our safety tools in work at the end of this session, how's everybody feeling?
Great. Awesome.
Intense character moments. I've got some thinking to do about what this episode will be called. But
can this one be losing my religion, please?
Well, it doesn't say who's losing their religion.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, so with that,
it's been an unintentional theme of this campaign thus far. A little
Yeah.
polytheistic conflict. Love it. Love it.
it's like somewhere in this campaign we're like, hey, you know what? Somebody mentioned like gods. Let's just pour all of that in. I'm here for it. Thank you to Of course, everybody who subscribed, resubscribed, or any of that stuff, any of the usual support, we always appreciate that. I forgot to call it out, but Cari resubscribed for 46 months.
I'm almost to 4 years.
And Gaz Van Dyke resubbed for 2 months. So, thank you for those. Thank you for everybody hanging out in the chat. Love seeing the conversations and reactions to what's happening. And shout out once again to Tamiko for the amazing bingo cards. We finally have a bingo card for this game. So
Hell
make
yeah,
sure.
I almost got a bingo. I'm so pissed. I needed like one other thing.
Did you get the music cue right there at the end? That just.
I did.
It was
I
so-
needed. I needed pork chop. I needed somebody to call
Oh.
pork chop. So.
There's no music cue on this
Oh, you don't
card.
have the one down on this
No.
card? Oh, that's in our Kids on Bikes game, isn't it? So yeah, the only thing left to do is to thank all of these incredible people that I'm lucky to call my friends that just bring it in ways that I couldn't even imagine going into this campaign. Thank you to Violet, Kaeryn, Tamiko, Cari, and though he wasn't with us tonight, he was with us in spirit, Jay.
And in the chat.
And in the chat.
He was in the chat.
At the end.
Without whom, this would just be me talking to myself for a couple hours. With that, we're going to end this stream the same way we end every stream. You can say it with me if you want.
Moral